Me or stand by listening to me enough. I'm a close-to-home individual, and I've never been frightened of sharing my weakness. Yet I feel that my weakness, perhaps a move D like you can make it happen in the event that I can do it, you can do it. There's nothing mind-blowing about me. There's practically nobody who hasn't caught wind of the Wendy Williams case with Kevin. It isn't stunning how seriously things are going. Kevin has thought of additional wrecked reasons to get her cash, while Wendy currently has been aloof with things. Well, in this show, the previous couples get is likewise now included. So trust me, assuming I say to remain until the finish to not miss any piece of the story. I needed to. And I realized good we were hitched for right around 22 years. We were together for a long time. I don't lament the day of meeting him. I don't lament tolerating him for every one of the 25 years. And I certain, and that doesn't have anything to do with him having this child or him having this girl for very nearly 15. The moderator's 56 focused on their 23-year marriage, and his escorts the prompted their 2020 separation in front of her impending lifetime narrative. Wendy says she learned throughout the long-term different times that he went behind her back with different ladies, yet she didn't wind up doing anything until he took manages an account with Sharina considerably further after she discovered that Kevin purchased his paramour a home in New Jersey only 10 miles from their place. That is the point at which she chose to vandalize the spot with splash paint. The 56-year-old conceded she headed toward the house and peeked through the window for a brief period. In the end, she took out the shower paint and chose to brave Wendy and Kevin everlastingly before she left after Wendy halted at the letter, dropped to stick it with Gorilla Paste, and splashed pink paint on top of it. She said in the canine, "Kevin isn't a lady mixer. I was a genuinely mishandled lady, and I was exploited terribly." She added, "I was exceptionally credulous and trusting in adoration. He's simply a peculiar man with a ton of issues that I'm happy I'm freed of." Wendy said she previously scholarly of one of her significant other's undertakings after she had quite recently brought forth their child, Kevin Jur, in 2000. She went to mind the child in his room and heard him on the telephone with one more lady. "Are you keen on seeing more recordings about Wendy Williams and Kevin Tracker then?" At that point, ring the chime symbol and buy into our station. I didn't intend to make anyone feel bad. I'm having a discussion, don't make me the daytime openings, stood up to Kevin, and said she really accepted him when he said he planned to sever it. With her reviewing the second for the camera, Wendy separated in tears, rambling, saying it was so cracking nauseating. However, she didn't know how long that undertaking endured. His longest relationship with one more lady has been with his flow sweetheart Sharina. The two met in 2007, when Charlemagne the God associated them on the grounds that Serena needed to be a model, and he figured Kevin could help her. He sat in the narrative. They wound up associating excessively much. He added Blondie didn't learn about it until Kevin told her he was going to Los Angeles, California for business, and she recruited a confidential specialist to follow him. The pie told her he was in Miami, Florida, with one more lady who ended up being Sharina after things turned significantly more serious. And she learned Kevin had bought the home for his fancy woman. That is the point at which she chose to stand up to them with splash paint. While talking with Extra in front of the narrative, Wendy impacted her ex Kevin for being a chronic miscreant, even while she was pregnant for their child. Kevinger television character Billy Shrub inquired as to whether it was a soothing encounter to have the option to put her marriage with Kevin at the focal point of this film and air out every last bit of her sentiments about it. Wendy strongly answered it was soothing to get him out of my life, to separate from him. Her ex, Kevin Tracker Sr., has documented a movement for his divorce settlement installments to continue in the midst of Williams' continuous well-being and monetary difficulties. Tracker Sr. 50 guaranteed that Williams 58 had not maintained the court-requested spousal installment since October 2021. Tracker Sr. presented on his Instagram stories on November 30th that the recording don't not have anything to do with Wendy. And on second thought, closely related to individuals making a good attempt, Broad Cash Tracker Sr. added that he had a huge number of specialists that would prove his cases. Williams' lawyer documented the movement in light of her ex's requests. The reaction expressed that since Williams lost her famous syndicated program in October 2021, she had no cash for provision support. As per the reports, Williams made $10 million each year, or 55,000, from every episode for The Wendy Williams Show. On October 15, 2021, offended party was educated by Talk WWE that her agreement was being suspended, and that no remuneration ought to gather or be payable to the offended party for the term of the offended party's handicap and inadequacy. Williams' lawyer charge in the field archive. The lawyer likewise referred to the separation understanding, which Tracker Sr. marked and consented to in January 2020. The lawyer added that Tracker Sr. has not gotten installment from her client since she has no other TV program being circulated and paying her any pay, not to mention a comparable compensation. Tracker Sr. had recently recorded a $10 million unfair end claim against Williams' organization in June 2022. After her show was dropped, Williams' Live Vanishing started toward the beginning of her show's fall 2020 season in September, where she was hospitalized for a mental assessment. From that point forward, Williams has seen a large group of well-being panics, notwithstanding monetarily wolves from being trimmed off from her compensation. Williams went through months in Malibu, California-based recovery place for supposed liquor maltreatment. After her delivery, Williams purportedly trim off contact with her child, Kevin Tracker Jr., as well as halted correspondence with her sibling. And 91-year-old Dad Williams likewise declared that she experienced gray sickness and lymphedema beyond odd paparazzi experiences and odd unannounced visits to companions' homes. Williams was frozen out of her Wells Fargo account in January 2022 over worries about her psychological state. Well, what is your take on their case? Let us in on in the remarks segment. Throughout recent years, bits of gossip about unfaithfulness on Tracker's part have over and again arose in the public news in the past. Williams has excused the tales, yet it shows up there was, as a matter of fact, a difficulty fermenting in heaven on the Wendy Williams Show. Williams as of late confessed about her repetitive fight with medication and liquor enslavement. In any event, conceding that she's been residing in a clear-headed house, Williams got back to her purple seat following an almost 2-month rest from the show to address her well-being. Only 4 different ways following her return, she reported a planned occasional break from the show. On April 1, 2022, Williams and Tracker met in 1994 and secured the bunch in 1997. Williams and Tracker finished their north of 20-year marriage in January 2020.